Well, welcome to another episode of Insurance Gone Wild. I'm Dennis Settlemeyer, your host, and my lovely co-host is...
Stephanie Lencioni.
Stephanie. I won't even go with the last name
All right,
today. How's that?
I was like, I'm waiting for it. I was on the edge of my seat.
No, not the last name.
While
today.
being pushed all the way back in my seat. Yeah.
Well, at least you're not laying in the floor.
That's true. It's been a week.
I see what you're drinking.
Excuse me.
Apple juice.
Excuse me. This is only my 7th.
Hollywood apple juice.
I'm kidding. It's not my 7th.
So, anyway.
Where's yours today, by the way?
Not in the mood today.
Sorry.
It's not in the mood. No. Anyway, it's Tuesday.
It is. Which feels like it's been a year since the last time we've met.
Well, since yesterday.
But it's been a week. Since yesterday. Yeah,
since yesterday.
It's a lot.
And I know a lot of other people out there have the same feelings. Mondays, oh man, sometimes they're rough.
And I love Mondays. Like Mondays are always it's a brand new opportunity. It's a new week. It's a new all the things. It's
busy.
It's busy, right? Yeah. And so by the time we get here on Tuesday, it feels like it's been.
Hence the Hollywood apple juice.
Yeah, it feels like it's just been like a really long week.
No, I'm with you.
Feels like it should be Friday, but it's not.
No, not even close.
Nope.
Not even close. So anyway, today we are going to talk about auto insurance. Just a little bit about auto insurance. Specifically. I was just going to say specifically about personal auto insurance.
Well, and even more so, specifically, I have to correct myself because I can't do it. When you buy a vehicle, right? So personal, buying a new vehicle.
Yeah.
Go.
Well, I want to make one caveat, and I promise you I'm not going to go down the rabbit hole.
Okay.
But this is specifically about personal auto versus commercial auto.
Yes.
Because commercial auto is a whole different animal.
Different rules.
And I've mentioned before, when you look at them on paper, they look similar, but what's going on behind the scenes, completely different.
So this is for your everyday consumer, whether you own a business, don't own a business, but you are buying a personal vehicle.
Exactly.
On a personal policy.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. So
moving on.
We had a question. What was the question?
Oh, God. God only knows, Dennis. The question is... Well, we're going to stair step this because I think when we were talking about it before and then having conversation, it got a little bit muddy. So I'm going to stair step the complexity of it.
Okay.
First question is, we're going to assume that you and I are doing the deal.
Okay.
Okay. I am buying a new vehicle, not a new vehicle, but a new vehicle to me. I'm buying a vehicle from a private seller. Mm-hmm. You. Mm-hmm. So I'm buying a vehicle from you. Let's say I'm doing this on a Saturday, my insurance office is closed. My insurance agency office is closed. I don't know how to do the online thing. That's not my jam, blah, blah, blah. Do I have coverage when I leave your house with the newly purchased vehicle?
That is a great question. So we are assuming that you have coverage currently.
I currently have coverage.
You have a policy in place right now.
Okay, so let's do two scenarios. First scenario is I have another car, but I have one car, and I only have liability.
Okay. So
which means no comp, no collision.
In this case, you have a liability policy. So in Texas, I believe in Texas, you have 14, 15 days to tell your agent about the
newly purchased vehicle.
Now, what I will generally tell folks is, look, if you have a policy in place of at least liability, you have liability coverage. If you hit somebody on your way out, whatever, you're going to be good because they give you time to add the new vehicle onto the policy. I will usually tell them, call me Monday or Tuesday, email me, text me when you get it that afternoon, whatever. I don't care. Just let me know with the VIN number and year, make, and model of the vehicle, so I make sure the VIN number matches up, because sometimes we get wrong VIN numbers.
Right.
So if you pull out in front of somebody and you've just picked up this new vehicle, you've signed the papers and everything, even though nothing's been processed.
Yep.
All right. So
Because it's Saturday.
Yeah, because you haven't went to the registration of, you haven't went to the title, you haven't got the title transfer, but it's still yours.
But
you own it.
Own it based on these papers that have not been filed, and I am now in physical possession of the vehicle.
You would have a minimum of liability.
Whatever's on my policy.
Whatever your liability limit was or limits are, that's what you would have.
Okay.
Now,
I have a question.
The next question is.
Okay. I didn't know if you were going to ask or if I was going to ask. What if you know what? Maybe I'm recently divorced and I didn't have a car, so I just wasn't on any policy and I dropped coverage, and now I just got this new car for me. So I don't currently have coverage in place, and then something happens.
That's easy. That's no coverage.
Okay.
In the event that you cause an accident.
We say it's correct. Okay. And then the next question.
But you brought up.
Talk to me.
Comp and collision also, because you said I only have liability.
So that was going to be the next question. So now what happens if I am adding this vehicle or replacing a current vehicle? Doesn't really matter at that point. But I have 3 vehicles on my policy, but I only have one with comprehensive and collision coverage. The other 2, I have liability because they're kind of beat up, they're paid off, they're whatever. Now what happens? So now I have some vehicles that are just liability, and I have only one vehicle that has comp and collision. And then I've gotten this new car from you.
Which is not technically on your policy.
It is not on my policy yet.
Because I just bought it 30 seconds ago.
Correct.
All right. So in that case, you would have comp and collision coverage on the new vehicle also.
Why is that?
Because typically you get the best coverage of whatever was on the policy for a new vehicle. Temporarily. It's temporary.
Sure.
Temporary. And so, so if you pull it out into the street and it's your fault, and you hit somebody, hit something or somebody, whatever it is, and you have physical damage to the vehicle, your comprehensive and collision that's on your policy would help with the damage to the new vehicle.
It would be covered.
It would be covered.
Yeah.
Well, let's assume it would be covered. You know what claims, used to be a claims adjuster. You know what you guys do sometimes. Sometimes it doesn't make any sense. But yes, technically.
We were not those people. We were good.
Technically.
We actually gave a shit about the clients.
But technically, yes, you have coverage.
Yes. We did not find ways out of coverage. We found ways.
There are companies that do,
coverage.
though. You know that.
That's true. And we do and I will say it was a commercial lines more so, which is different. And I did a lot of liability. So you want to find the coverage for the insured.
You want it to go away.
You want to find the coverage. And that's
different.
That is different than.
But we're not talking about commercial.
Correct.
All right. So
But we were talking about me. So I'm just standing up for myself.
If you have liability, and you had somewhere on your policy comprehensive and collision, the new vehicle would be also covered for comprehensive and collision.
Okay.
So you would be covered. Now, again, tell your agent as soon as you can. Send an email, a text, call Monday, whatever. I've got the new car. I need to add it on. Why do I say that? Because you've had, let's say, a minimum of 14 days. What people tend to forget, I've discovered.
Oh, yeah.
They get busy, and then I've had them.
It feels like it was a year ago since yesterday.
And I've had it where it's been 30, 40 days, and they have an accident, and they're like, oh, I forgot to tell you this. Sorry, can't help you. This is what your contract says, the policy, which is a contract. It says this. And I know what they were trying to do. We're trying to probably save some money on not having it added to their policy. I get it, but insurance don't play that game.
Right.
Because they know what folks do. Now, if you pull out in front of somebody and you do not have comprehensive and collision on any of your vehicles on your policy, or didn't have it, whatever, and you get hit and it's not your fault, then do you have any type of physical damage coverage? Well, if the other person had liability, it's their fault. They're going, if it wasn't yours, it was the other person's, their liability should pay for the physical damage to your vehicle, right? If they did not have insurance
or enough,
okay, that's a good point. We're not getting into weeds on that.
I'm sorry. If they didn't have insurance,
if they didn't have insurance, and you had uninsured, underinsured coverage, then you would make the physical damage claim to your vehicle under your uninsured, underinsured coverage, which is $250 deductible, by the way, in the state of Texas.
I love that. But do I need to have collision coverage to be able to tap into my underinsured?
No, not if uninsured. It's not your fault. You do not have to have collision coverage. You do not have to have collision coverage. The uninsured, underinsured has medical expenses in it, and it also has property damage. And guess what the property is? The vehicle you just bought.
Correct.
Because that person, the other person that hit you, did not have coverage, so you're going to use uninsured, underinsured. Last week before, I had 3 of those claims. I haven't had one, and I couldn't tell you almost a year, and I had 3.
That's crazy. But I do want to just make one little point, though. A couple additions to the uninsured, underinsured. Part of it does cover the medical bills, but it does also cover, at that point, because that coverage is now acting as though it's the third party liability, right? Like you're making a claim against it. It does also include lost wages and pain and suffering.
Sure.
So it does. But if you are at fault and you're making a medical claim against under any portion, whatever you have on your auto policy, lost wages may be covered. That depending on what you have. But pain and suffering is not included. So medical bills, lost wages can be included, but pain and suffering is not. While you're uninsured, underinsured, that is absolutely factored in to the settlement amount.
Yeah. So we were talking.
I know it's just a minor detail, but I just wanted to.
Well,
throw
no,
that
it's
out there.
not minor, but I mean that's a whole nother episode of talking about stuff like that.
Yes.
But it's good
And
to
why
bring
it's
it up.
important,
People need to know. Hey, there's other parts to uninsured, underinsured that help in ways. Now, I think the other thing is now you're making a claim against your own insurance company. So
You become the claimant,
that's right,
not the insured. You are both, but not.
Yeah, and some companies are better at handling that than others.
Yeah.
And because they understand what happened. Other ones, man, I wouldn't say it's tough. It's just people don't understand that, yeah, you got to get all this information together now. It's on you because you're making a claim against them. Mm-hmm. You basically have to prove the need, Yeah,
you're no longer... It's a weird concept. So I didn't handle any of that kind of stuff when I did claims, but I have to imagine it is it shouldn't be any different. I did the liability part. Mm-hmm. And again, as we've previously discussed, we wanted to find the coverage. We wanted to be able to pay what we wanted, what we needed to pay, not anything more, not anything less, pay what you need to pay, move on. But yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. I don't know how different claims adjusters are taught.
I think it depends.
Coached through that.
Yeah, as you were talking, I started thinking, well, okay, the real difference is uninsured, underinsured pays medical and property damage. I think it's really on the medical portion that's the hard part. The property damage is fairly straightforward. Your car's totaled out. It was worth this much, but minus $250 deductible. But the medical portion, because medical can be, I got a scratch, or it could be, I got a scratch that turned into infection that turned into gangrene that turned into something else.
Yeah, no.
And so they're not as apt to, they want to get it done really, really quick. But if you're going more than, if you're starting to
accrue some balances.
Yes, then they're going to slow down. And that's where people go, well, they're not paying anything. They keep asking me for all this information because now you're the claimant. And you've got to prove this, and they want to make sure that whenever the check is written, they're done.
Correct. And at that point, you have to prove, just with whether it's somebody else's insurance carrier or yours, the insurance carrier still doesn't want to pay any more than what they should be paying. So they have, you need to establish that it's reasonable and necessary medical treatment. based on the injuries that were incurred. And then, and then the same thing with like lost wages, which should be easy to prove, but it's not. Like there are a lot of people who are self-employed and different things. And, but you do have to prove your case, right? You still got to prove your case as far as that goes. And then I would say, you actually brought this up in a couple different episodes, but where the property damage, that aspect does change a little bit too. So let's say that I was at the dealership and I bought a brand new vehicle and I rolled it off the lot, and then somebody uninsured hit me. Well, now I also have the claim of, hey, I had this, or let's say it was a used vehicle, it doesn't matter, but it had never been in an accident, but now it's in an accident, and now I can actually claim some additional coverages like, hey, I just lost value because now my car has been in an accident.
Diminished value.
Correct. So
you can't really do that with a
collision claim.
Well, a private purchase. But if you do it with a dealership, it's easier to prove what the diminished value would be. Because
with Carfax? You don't think, like if you can prove Carfax that says no accidents?
If it's brand new, it's brand new, it's different. It's not brand new if you buy it from an individual.
But it's not brand new if you buy it from a dealer and it's a used car.
That is correct.
Thank you.
That is absolutely correct.
I love when you agree with me.
But
this is the best.
I think, if I remember correctly, I've only run into it a handful of times. If it's not brand new, it has to be certified. You never seen those on the dealership pages? Certified Honda or whatever it is. I think it has to be certified, meaning that...
I don't know. I know I ran into it where people were... Not everybody would claim it because we did... part of the claims, it could be a slip and fall, it could be a product's liability, or it could be a car accident. And then people are like, wait a second, you've lowballed me on the value of this vehicle. I've never been in an accident, and then we could throw on some extra money. But I don't know that we would claim... Now, again, this is 15 years ago. I don't know that we would have to establish hard, like I don't think it would have to be certified, but I can't remember for sure. So I don't know.
It makes it easier if it's certified.
Makes it easier,
but certification basically means just like brand spanking new. It may be used, but there's nothing wrong with it. It is in perfect condition. And so with certified vehicles, the dealership can ask for a higher dollar amount. And so I ran into this with a client that they were going down a side road and somebody came off the off ramp and hit them. And it was actually a Honda. They hit them, Honda Pilot, I think. They hit them and they were wanting, it was a brand new Honda Pilot, or it was a certified Honda Pilot. And they were asking about diminished value. I'm like, but you can't get it from your insurance company because that's in your contract. They're not paying it. You have to get it from the person that hit you, their insurance company. And they did, and they got an extra $8,000 because it dropped the value of it that much.
So,
and this was 10 years ago.
Yeah, pre-COVID, which
Company
so funny.
X.
It's so funny how pre-COVID now is like, oh,
yeah, but
that's a statement.
I don't think this anything with COVID, but I know what you're saying.
No. I'm just because used cars and everything, all the value of cars, the value of everything, just
this
completely
didn't have
shut
anything
up.
to do with that.
No, that's what I'm saying.
$8,000.
I'm just saying $8,000 back in the day pre-COVID is a huge amount. That's what I'm saying.
During COVID, the COVID issue when you couldn't get the chips for the Ford vehicles and different things, and used cars started increasing like crazy. I had people that had their cars totaled out. They were getting more than they paid for it.
They paid for the car. Yeah, it was insane.
Not
and
a little
they're
bit,
10-year-old vehicles.
A lot more.
Yeah.
A lot more. So that's the other thing is sometimes people, well, how do they determine what my car is worth? So if you have physical damage, and let's say it is totaled out, okay, whether it's your fault or the other part, it's totaled out. And what does mean total? Well, companies vary, but let's say 65,
states vary.
65, 70%, somewhere in that general area.
In Texas, I'm going to tell you that is a state by state.
Okay, I believe you. But the idea is we've got a number. The number is what they do is they go out, they've got software that does things, but essentially this is what it does. And I'm simplifying this very, very much. It's not Auto Trader, but just say you go to Auto Trader and you find a vehicle that is almost identical to yours. Same color, about the same miles, same trim package. If it's leather seats, it's leather seats. You find every front wheel drive, rear wheel drive, all wheel drive, four wheel drive.
You find the best to match
You're looking
comparable
for
to your
your
vehicle.
exact vehicle,
Right.
and you're looking for 3 of them and if it's a used car, you're looking at 3 of them from used car dealers within a 50-mile area, 25, 50-mile area.
Close-ish radius.
Okay, so then you take that number, you kind of average it out, and that's where they come up with the number minus your deductible, and that's the check. Folks, that's simplification. But if you think they lowballed you, you can go on and do that. Most claims adjusters that I have found, if you think that they're getting if they're lowballing you, go out and find something. Make sure it's almost identical to what you currently have. And you present the comps, that's what they call them, the comps to the adjuster. They'll look at it. Most of the time, they'll make some adjustment because guess what? They didn't have to go out and do the extra work. And now they've got proof they can show the insurance company and move on, right?
Yeah.
Because they're people too. They want to get it off their plate and move on. Most of them will, unless they've been told by the insurance company no deals.
I have a story about that, but I'll tell you after this.
Any case, that's sort of how it works. And I have told people that.
Well, okay, but hang on. But you didn't finish the thought. Essentially what it is, they take the value, the actual cash value of your vehicle, what is called ACV, right? So the actual what your vehicle is worth had it not just been in an accident.
What it's worth at a used car dealership in this case.
That's fine. And then based on the state and or carrier, whatever that percentage is. So if you have, let's say it's the 70%, and I don't remember what it is for Texas.
Maybe 65. I can't remember. But
well, I thought it was more. It doesn't matter.
Maybe I don't think
It doesn't even matter.
Let's say it's $20,000.
Well, I was going to use 10. We're going to use very simple numbers.
All right.
Your vehicle is worth $10,000 and their threshold is 70%.
Let's say 70%.
So if the repairs on your vehicle are near or above $7,000, which is 70% of $10,000, the value of the vehicle, especially before they've even gone in there and done any tear down, they are going to total it out because they know as soon as they start removing parts, there's more. Or something can happen, or this, or that. And at that point, it's just easy peasy enough to say, we're going to cut the crap and we're going to go ahead, we're going to total this out, blah, blah, blah. And then they know they can redeem salvage from it, or you can keep it and then have that reduced from your settlement. It doesn't matter. So the story I had, so that's how that works, right? If it's a percentage of, if they're like, wait a second, this vehicle is totally good. Like, I don't understand.
Point something out you just said.
Sure.
If it does need, let's say 70% is the magic number. And I can't remember.
I can't remember either. 75 is in my head, but that's
whatever. But let's say it's 70%. And you said, if it's close or over, you gotta remember, if it's close. It could be $5,500.
Because here's the thing too, you still have your rental vehicle when it takes 3 weeks.
It's $5,500. They're adding all that cost up, and because
before they've taken a bumper off.
Yeah, because if it's a front end bumper, and you think it's just a bumper, and you pull it off, and the shop goes, "Oh, you've got a bent frame, you've got this, you've got," which happens, especially on these newer cars.
Yeah,
you've got this, you've got that. Yeah, now you're at $10,000 easily before they even do anything else. So,
and they don't want to pay anybody to do any work.
Yeah.
Before they then have to total out, and they're like, "Well, it's basically a lemon, right?" Yeah. At that point,
so that's sort of how that works. So your story.
So my story on that was going to be: I had a family member who called, and they're like, "Hey, I know you're in the insurance world," and I was like, "Sadly, yes." I'm just kidding. Anyway, so we're talking about it.
I'm not your agent. What's the deal?
No, they're out of state and not one that.
Are they a state we in?
For home and auto?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, you're crawdadding. Y'all from Missouri listening, you know what that means.
Anyway, for home and auto, that's a totally different beast. Like totally. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But they are out of state. But so they called. And they're like, "Hey, we're in an accident. You know, your aunt was hit and all these things. They're totaling out the vehicle, and this is what they're offering, but it just seems really low. Like, we can't find a vehicle to replace
for that price.
So, and I remember exactly, this was either last Christmas or the Christmas before, and I was like out shopping and doing the things, and I was in Kohl's. So Kohl's, if you want to be a sponsor, that's fine. But I was like, okay, first and foremost, here's what I would do. Just like you said, hop online, right? Go to different, like autotrader.com, car gurus, cars.com, just go to different websites, put in your exact information, right? And then try to find, if you can find down to the exact color, because believe it or not, folks, the color does matter. The interior of the trim matters. So try to find as close a match as possible. And if the more you can add to it, the better. And then you average it out and then, but print it out and then send it over to the adjuster and then blah, blah, blah. I was like, and then if that doesn't work, then go ahead and give me a call back. Cause then we can go ahead and like, we can open a can, you know what I mean? Like Steph's got your back. We'll get some whoop ass on that shit. But it wasn't even necessary because they ended up doing it. What happened was they added like something with the odometer when they went out for the inspection. So here's the point, guys. It's human error. That's all that it was, is that it was just human error. And so when they went back and they were like, wait a second, you're showing me stuff with 30,000 miles, but we have 130,000 miles on your vehicle. And they're like, well, that's interesting because we don't have 130 miles. We can show you, oil changes and da-da-da. And so it was that easy. And then they got everything they wanted and more.
Yeah.
So you just have to back up the claim. They're not trying, for the most part. I will stand up for them, and I don't feel like they're trying on something that's so simple, where it's so
reputable companies. They want to get it done, and move on.
Yeah,
and they're
especially when there's
fair.
Proof. They're not.
Yeah.
Like what they're going to fight for 4 weeks over $1,000. And this was not $1,000. Like this was a significant amount. Because when you're talking 30 to 100, like it was I don't remember exactly the mile situation, but it was significant. And then, so they gathered the information, they sent it in, and they were like, oh yeah, okay, here's our new valuation. There you go. And they were like, oh, that's okay. That's better than.
That's more what I'm seeing.
Yeah. Now I can replace my vehicle.
Yeah, and the thing is, talking about replacement, you have to understand they're not going to replace. They're going to give you money to replace it with a brand new one.
We're not.
It's equivalent. And if you're saying you can't find something that's equivalent to what you lost,
right?
Then we've either got a problem with the claim, the settlement, or we've got a problem with a misunderstanding.
Yeah.
It's one of those two things, because if they're finding you, if we back up, if the claims adjuster says $10,000 and I'm writing you a check for $10,000 because that's what I've come up with based on market survey, and you go, oh no, I can't find anything under 15,000.
Yeah,
or you comparing apples to apples.
Correct, and that's now where they will just ask more questions.
They will also take into account the what kind of shape the vehicle was in at the time of the loss, not after the loss, but just prior to the loss. So if they get in there and they see the seats are all ripped up and all that stuff.
Oh yeah, totally ripped up. You've got stains of all things.
They're going to deduct for that. They're going to go out and look at that stuff.
Missing headrests and yes,
they're discounting for all that. You can't add all that stuff back in when you're looking. Right. You're going to take a discount on that.
Right.
So because I've run into that where they looked in it. Matter of fact, I told one guy whose wife got hit and it totaled out her vehicle. I said, you need to go clean that thing out real quick, because I knew what the vehicle looked like.
Yeah.
You need to go clean it. Go take all the trash and everything out of it. And he did, and he was okay with what they offered him.
Yeah. Well, because again, that's not being deceitful. That's just saying, it's like when you're going to show your house, you're not going to have trash and crap everywhere.
Well, yeah, because trash is trash, but you can't get rid of the permanent stains and the rips and things like that.
Correct.
But it looks better if it doesn't have all that trash in it. It presents
better.
Exactly.
And then so...
Y'all didn't hear that from us, but yes.
Well, no, but
it's true though.
But again, that's not being not being unethical.
Not even deceitful. You're just showing them.
No, it's just showing, like, this is my vehicle.
Here's what it looks like.
This is what it looks like. Physically. I'm showing you the actual, so you can see there are no stains. Because if I have a little bit of trash or a little, like a kid's sippy cup in the back or something, but I can pick that up and make it look better, that's not being deceitful. That's the way my vehicle is in the shape that it is.
Because they're valuing it based on
now,
the
if you
physical.
go set fire to that bitch.
Yeah, that's different.
To hide up the fact that your thing is completely messed up.
Yeah, because they're looking at they're paying for the physical damage. That's how they're not the trash. But they will, if there's like you said, missing headrest, you've got a no radio in there, you've got, stuff like that. Don't worry about the airbag. If the airbag deployed, whenever, that's okay.
Well,
they don't pay attention to that.
So here's another thing. How often do people have a third row but they pull the third row out if it's not one that folds down? So if something like that happens, again, the whole point is have the conversation. I feel like we've actually gone off of our point a little bit because now we're
still talking about physical damage.
No, we are. And then settlements and everything else. So, but it's conversation. Say, hey, by the way, I know that third row seat wasn't in there. Okay. So here's why I would start the conversation. If you get a settlement, what are you factoring into that? Why am I getting dinged? What are my deductions on your settlement offer?
And if you don't get that, you can ask for it.
Well, that's what I'm asking. That's what I'm saying. Ask the adjuster and say, that's interesting because I can't. But it starts the conversation. So it's like, well, you have or whatever you have to do to start the conversation. The other thing to keep in mind is as far as the physical damage. So let's say the inside is fine. But you have a lot of door dings and you have a lot of this, you have a lot of that. So remember when they're looking, if it was a T-bone accident, so all of your damage is in the front, right? The front quarter of the vehicle. If you were the one that did the T-boning, yeah. Right. Well, if that's where your damage is. Okay. Because it could still not be your fault if somebody ran a red light or something. But if your back end is still all messed up, or if the claim is left side, but your right side is beaten to hell, they're going to take that into effect 100%.
Like
and they're like, well, but my vehicle drove and it worked and blah, blah, blah. And now I have to, at that point, that's not their problem. Yeah. Their problem is their job is to pay you for the value of the vehicle in the state that it was in when it was damaged, right before it was damaged by their insured. Period. End of. And that can suck because I hear that all the time. And they're like, well, now I'm upside down on my loan and I just bought it a year ago and I took a 5-year note and Their job is not to pay off your loan. That is why you get gap insurance when you buy the vehicle. But that's not their job. It is what is the vehicle worth seconds before the additional damage was given. Well, does that make sense?
Yeah, going all the way back to the beginning.
I love that. Let's circle back.
Of when do I have coverage when I drive the vehicle away from wherever I purchased it?
Paul is chuckling.
The answer is it depends. If you have liability only.
And insurance sucks.
And you're only going to have liability on it. If you have physical damage on at least one of the vehicles on your policy, either the one that's left or the one you're replacing, then you'll have physical damage coverage on the one you're driving off. Right. And so that is generally the answer to that question.
I was about to say in a nutshell, but I think that's the biggest shelled nut that you can possibly fit in there as far as like we went long way around.
Yeah, but I think there was some good information in there. And, the thing is people have their own stories of what happened. And generally, not always, but generally when you start asking questions, you start getting answers that aren't making sense because there's a misunderstanding there. But occasionally you run across some and you go, I don't really know what the adjuster was thinking. I don't understand what happened because they're telling me all the answers and it all makes logical sense.
But there's a disconnect.
There's a disconnect somewhere. And I don't know.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes we go into new states. We have clients in new states. They'll ask and like, well, in Texas and Georgia and whatever, it works this way, but we're brand new and name a state. Generally it's about the same, but I can just tell you from how it works generally, but every state has its own set of laws. The majority of them are pretty identical, but now if you're at fault, we won't get into that. Never mind. But any case, it's an interesting type deal. Man, that was quite a bit of information on one little aspect.
I know, and we gave, and to your point, if I can just finish the statement, Jesus, we did give a lot of information. I feel like there were a lot of different aspects to the information because we went from buying a new vehicle to just, hey, what happens if my vehicle is totaled out, right? Whether it's my fault, not my fault, all of the things, but the bottom line is the asking questions, and it's the discovery part. So if something is not adding up, you need to just ask the extra question. Go one question deeper, because if it's not making sense and everyone is acting is on the up and up, then you'll figure out what the issue is, and you guys should be able to come to some sort of compromise and settlement. But the issue lies when somebody is not acting on the up and up, whether that is, and that doesn't always have to be the insurance company.
Oh, no.
There are plenty of people who exaggerate claims, try to get stuff covered that shouldn't, like flat out lying and insurance fraud. So this is not all on the insurance company. But typically, if everyone's acting in good faith,
insurance fraud's built into the premium too.
It absolutely is. And well, I'm not going to say what I was going to say because, but yeah. So I think just ask if you don't like it, if you're not happy with it. And then from there, like I was going to say, just ask a question with the adjuster, have a conversation. I will say it is tough to get some of the people on the phone.
It is
to actually have the conversation, because all they'll want to do is email back and forth. And if that is not the biggest pain in the ass sometimes, when you just it's like scheduling when and where you're going to have lunch. And you're like, oh my God, do you like Mexican? I don't know. I mean, I like Mexican, but I just had Mexican the last 3 days.
Yeah, but you don't get that answer until 2 hours later.
Oh my God. Well, yeah, I mean, I don't know. Sushi's just
well, no, hold on a second.
Christ, just get on the phone.
The thing is that you get that answer, but it's 2 hours in between answers.
If
just pick up the phone. We can get this done in 2 minutes.
That's my point,
2
though.
minutes.
Where it's like we're going back and forth when you could just have a conversation. 5 minutes later, and you're like, oh, okay, cool. We're on the same page. Now we understand where the disconnect is. So that is a little bit frustrating, but we do encourage, whether it's your adjuster, whether it's your company or a third party, like a liability situation, just try to pick up the phone, have a conversation with somebody. And then if it is your company, then for sure, if you're having issues, call your agent and have your agent get on the phone with you, and then everybody can kind of talk it out, right? Or say, hey, I'm kind of having this issue. It's not a claim over here. It's a claim over here. Do you have any recommendations? So just, and we can hopefully, we or your agents can hopefully guide you through the navigation of that conversation.
I'll go back because we've really run out of time. When it comes to physical damage of a vehicle, I don't necessarily run into a lot of issues on that. I don't think I don't run into any, but generally it's kind of cut and dry. There may be some disagreement on price, but sometimes you can negotiate it, sometimes you can't. But where it really comes in is on the medical portion. That's where I see it really being more of an issue on the personal line side. But anyway, again,
you have to establish reasonable and necessary related to the injuries sustained in the accident.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So anyway, all right. So we're going to wrap it up. Long-winded conversation, but a lot of information in there, folks, that we shared. And you probably need to talk to your agent or your insurance company. We're trying to give you general information. Some companies they have some little quirks or things that are a little bit different. I would tell you that your cheaper, no-name type companies, who knows what they will do?
We don't.
We don't know what they will do.
Because we don't represent them.
And we don't want to represent them. So, because it ends up being a claims experience nightmare for everybody involved. But in any case, give us a call. Give us a shout out. Tell us what your experience was with a claim in this regards. You can send us an email at contact@igwpodcast.com, or you can give us a call 817-753-0093, or you can put something on our YouTube, reply to one of our videos or YouTube videos or Facebook videos, or I don't know what all. We're on Instagram and
you can even feel so inclined to like and subscribe.
You could, if you wanted to like and subscribe.
Like you should.
That would be great.
We'll give you $1. I mean, we won't, but you could like and subscribe anyway.
You know how popular we are? We could be broke.
You know what? I hope for the day that we would be broke by giving every subscriber $1.
Yeah.
Challenge accepted. Go. Right? But we're not. Disclaimer, no one's getting $1.
Anyway, thank y'all for joining us, and we'll talk to you again.